So welcome back to another episode of the Veteran Influencers Podcast. And so for right now, if you can, just please hit the thumbs up on the feed, like, share, push this feed out, help us to generate as much attention from this as we can, because that's what we're trying to do, build a platform to where we can be the one. Eventually, we want to be the one-stop shop. You know what I'm saying? People come here and, all of a sudden they get them careers boosted. Hey, we can't do that without attention. I just want to go over a few announcements that we have for the and upcoming things that we have for the actual platform. So right now, I believe we just hit 100 downloads between iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And I would say we had the podcast running for about, or the actual podcast on those platforms for maybe about a month now. So we're definitely making big moves. I'll leave a link and actually the videos as well for, I want to say it's actually in the description of this video, for my merch store where Veteran Influencers, where you know what I'm saying? Hey, that was nice right there. Boy, you know what I'm saying? We got that fresh merch on deck, baby. Got a hoodie in today too as well. Man, so many people were contacting today just asking how they can get a hold of it. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for constantly supporting the movement. We have so many places that we want to go, so many goals, and so many people we want to help to actually elevate with us. And so we got the 100 downloads for that. We just recently cracked 1,000 views on Gunner Son Leroy Brown. He does the art. We had him as a guest. I want to say he was the first guest officially on this new platform. So congratulations to him. I want to say we have 3 interviews so far that cracked the 1,000 mark, and we're just continuing to rising because of each and every one of you guys. So I just want to say thank you guys so much. So with all those things being said about us, you know what I'm saying? Hey, let's get this thing moving. Especially we started a couple minutes late, but we're going to get it cracking. If y'all see sweat beads coming down my forehead, don't even worry about that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to make it work. So as you guys know, on every episode of the Veteran Influencers Podcast, we always have an extremely special guest, and today is going to be no different. So today's guest, we have someone that I actually met when we were in Japan, and I had the privilege to go to a couple of his actual sessions because he is a black belt and an instructor. Now, how does it work? Do you have multiple levels of instructor once you get the black belt as well for jiu-jitsu?
Not really. Once you get promoted to black belt, it's just basically how involved you are in the community, how you keep active. And then every 3 years, you start getting different degrees, from the first, second, third, fourth. And then once you get to that, then it takes 5 years to achieve every other degree after that. So basically just keep active, keep at it. And, especially if you get into like the third, fourth degree black belt, you're going to be old. That's the difference about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and most of the traditional martial arts. There is no, you're going to be old by the time, if you're at the top of your chain. And if you're old and in Jiu-Jitsu, that means you survive some tough roles, some tough moments ahead. So
right. So with that being said, as you guys heard the credentials, you know what I'm saying, I got the privilege and the not so privilege to experience that firsthand. Extremely talented, extremely calm, great instructor. I've heard nothing bad about this man ever. Everybody talks so highly of him. A great mentor, doing great things for the community. A veteran, you know what I'm saying? Prior Marine, got out, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, competed at the highest levels, you know what I'm saying? Got them doves, them trophies, you know what I'm saying? But still remained humble. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce my brother from another mother, Enrique Watson.
What's up, guys? Man, that introduction. Man, I'm looking at you.
You know how we do?
But I'm glad to be here, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. And like we were talking earlier this week, it's a great thing you're doing, just coming up here and creating basically a veteran support group like no other. Because most of the veteran support groups focus on just one area, right? What do you do with this? Or job related or medical situations. But this is just something that you can come in, you can like it. You can go through the different interviews and find out a piece that you like. They can reach out to you for mentorship. I know you had Jimmy Banda last week. Yeah. He was one of my first jiu-jitsu guys out there in Iwakuni. dedicated guy, awesome mentor. So I'm glad he's keeping the path over there in Virginia, man, training hard. So I'm pretty excited to see what this is going to take you, and how great you're going to help out the veteran community and the community as a whole. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I definitely appreciate the kind words. And like I said, because I know you had Ray Garcia with you as well, right? You guys trained as well. So we had him on there, I believe, the week before that. And then we had Jimmy, and then we have you. Hey, I don't know how it ended up being like that, but, I'm not complaining either because, I think we get a little bit of everything with each one of you guys. And, it's – I don't know if I could say this without seeming like I'm trying to be cocky, but to be put in a position to where I can assist other people, whether I'm elevating them or just giving them like little like nuggets here and there, like, oh crap, I didn't even think about things like that. To me, is like one of the greatest privileges anybody can have, just to be in a position to where they can help other people. And it's like that of anything else, not money, not fame or anything. I get off so much by just being able to be in a position where people call me at midnight like, hey, I need help with this. Can you help me with this? I'm struggling. Hey, how can you, is there any way you can point me in the right direction? I love being about that. So, and I think that's what we should all be about, being in the veteran community. And to me, the veteran community like mostly represents being selfless. So, but with all those things being said, like I said, we met in Iwakuni, Japan, and we definitely had our times where, like I said, I had the privilege of being able to train with you. I remember one particular time where, I went in the gym and it seemed like I always tell people when I go train, I was like, look, dude, I don't know anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you go in there like, oh yeah, dude, I've been doing this for years, someone's going to have you, someone's going to be eyeballing you like, nah, I'm going to take this dude out. So I was like, look, I don't know nothing. I'm starting from scratch. Like, I mean, I've trained before, but I ain't gonna let nobody else know that. So, they put me with like the guys that seem like they haven't really fought that much. And I was trying my best to, just kind of teach as I go. But I could see like the blue belts kind of like eyeballing me. And then like they kind of slid in. And I don't think there was anybody that was kind of like the same weight class as me. So I think I had like a little bit of an advantage by using strength, but they were just, I could tell they were just kind of fooling with me, And then like, you're like, hey, no, let me just move to the side real quick. Hey, I got it, man. I'm just like, dude, I couldn't breathe in like the first 2 seconds.
Well, you got a little bit of taste of what I feel, man, because most of the time, man, you just got a target on your back, especially being a black belt and an older black belt. You know what I'm saying? And I call myself older because I'm 40, 41.
Nice. It's a privilege to make it that far.
But 41, man, is different when you go into a gym and you got some 23, 24-year-old beasts. They're also black belts. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
So, and the Marine Corps is a little bit different because everybody just wants to try out. They're alpha males. Everybody's an alpha male. So when they come to the gym and it's like, I wrestle or All-American national champion, and they just hear, it's like, oh, be careful. It's Enrique. He's really solid on the ground. And next thing you know, man, I'm just fighting every time I'm in there. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to not even prove myself, defend myself. But I wouldn't change anything, man. That's just, especially in Iwakuni, it's one of my fine memories. The best moments I had is in Iwakuni, Japan. That's where my roots are so embedded in Japan culture. My instructor is from Japan.
Nice.
And I've been there for, so long. Man, I remember, I think a total of 10 years I lived in Japan while active duty. Yeah. So I went there, this last time I was there as a civilian. You know what I'm saying? I was independent. So it was like the best time of my life. Before, I went the first time as a corporal, and then I got orders again as a sergeant, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, I went back as staff. Well, no, I got promoted to staff sergeant and I got out. So when my wife got orders to Iwakuni, I was a civilian. So restrictions really didn't apply to me. So I got a chance to actually get the best of both worlds, living with the Marines, training the Marines, having the camaraderie in there, but being able to just get off the base, travel as far as possible without having to be back at midnight or 2 a.m. because it's civilian.
Signing the logbook.
Sign the logbook, yeah. Get your Liberty Buddy. But man, those are things that we all go through. You know what I'm saying? Every time I talk to a veteran buddy of mine in Florida, they did 4 years. You joined the Marine Corps together. We can all relate with little things like, oh yeah, you fire watch. You're gonna get recycled to training day one. Just little jokes that we know.
Yo, that is hilarious. It's so, I'm telling you, if nothing else, it's always so good to talk to a veteran, like, especially of your same branch, because it's just like so many things that you can bring up, like, yo, I forgot about that. Or like, I can bring up, like, yo, I remember this time where X, Y, and Z. Oh man, it's so great. And like I said, myself and most people that I know that actually know you as, already grown up out of the Marine Corps, and transition into your entrepreneurship life of doing having your gym and whatnot. But I'm trying to know what early childhood was like. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what baby Enrique was like. What's going on with that?
And we didn't even have color TV when I was young. No, I'm just joking. But close enough.
Don't get it twisted.
When you have to change the channels like this. Click, 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 click.
With either the pliers or you you have that little RFU switch with the 2 U's that hooked into the screws in the back to get reception.
Oh, snap. Yeah. Hooking up the Atari into the antenna. Man, those are some old days. Well, man, if we want to go way back, I was born in Lima, Peru.
Oh, wow.
South America.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Born in Lima, Peru. And we came to the States, I think it was 92 or 93. So I was 12 years old, 12 or 13 years old when we came to the United States. Okay. I didn't speak a lick of English, nothing, So it was a real, and we weren't wealthy at all. We're poor, dirt poor. And I always tell this to a lot of my people that know me really well. My mother, came to the United States with $1 in her pocket, like literally $1 in her pocket. They cost some fees to be able to come to the U.S. legally, right?
Right.
So when you do it correctly and fill out your immigration papers and everything else, takes years, right? Years. You have to get medical screening, background check, criminal check for your parents and everybody else. And basically, you put in your time. And then they say, hey, here you go. Welcome to America. Here's your packet, right? And by the time you get there, you got to come in and you got to be able to make it happen for yourself. There's no party waiting for you, right? I can only imagine, now that I'm a father of 3, right? I can only imagine how tough it was for my mother to come in with 4 kids. My older sister, me, my little brother, and at the time, my 3-year-old sister, Jimena, right? My little brother, Julio, my older brother, Denise. A shout out to Denise, Julio, Jimena. She's a cop over there in Largo, Florida, so she's going through some rough times right now.
Shout out to Florida.
She's in Largo, Florida. She's a police officer in Largo Police Department, so shout out to her. She's kicking butt, taking names. But yeah, we got to the airport in Miami. We had to stay there for a few hours, I think, held up because they got to check your paperwork and immigration and everything else. So we missed the flight, the connection flight to Tampa, where we have somebody from the family meeting us there and picking us up, right?
Okay.
So they put us on the next flight. It was 6 hours later to go to Tampa. But you got to understand, in 93, there was no cell phones. You know what I'm saying? There was no let me send you a quick email, right? It wasn't like that.
Those big Zach Morris phones, you know what I'm saying?
That's for rich people, not us. We didn't have that, right? So when all we had to do is just get into the flight, fly to Tampa. And when we landed in Tampa, we're like, what do we do now? We got to find a payphone. But the person that was there to pick us up is already driving back to Largo, like an hour away, and you got to catch them there. If they're not home, you just wait, right? So I remember vivid in Tampa Bay, a 13-year-old looking at my mom, was sitting in the corner on the, when you pick up your bags, and she's trying to call and nobody's picking up. You're in a new country, don't speak the language, and you're there with your 4 kids, So now as a parent, I worry about my kid being outside in the dark. I can only imagine being able to and know that you don't have any money in your pockets. That is what makes me put my mother in a pedestal is a warrior. That's what if she can do it, I don't care. Anybody that gives you excuses, man, you can't get anywhere. That dollar is doesn't mean anything. You couldn't do anything with a dollar. You know what I'm saying? So you could just say she had no money. So at the end of the day, my stepfather picked up the phone call, and he was all excited because he thought, hey, my mom was didn't get in the plane or something like that. And everything worked out from there. You know, we got in, hit the ground running. I remember going to middle school, Largo Middle School. And there was no mixed Spanish language. No, man. It was like you go to English class, history, art, all in English. And I'm sitting there going like, what am I going to do? Just listening like
class is that?
Wah, wah, wah. And I'm like, so you guess what? You're either gonna fold or you just gonna fake it till you make it. I made some friends. I was making, what do I gotta do? And little by little, man, I started picking up the language. And I think that's what gave me the little edge over some of my counterparts. I become resilient, adjusted to be able to do that. Did well in high school. I wrestled a little bit in high school when I transitioned, and then all this time I was already training in jiu-jitsu when I was in Peru under Luis Fabian gym, which was in Lima, Peru. They had a lot of like catch wrestling, and it was a really involved gym. And I was bullied as a kid a lot. I was getting my butt kicked left and right. So my mother sent me to my uncle's gym all the time, and I was so timid that I would not join the class. I would just watch everybody roll, But after like 3-4 months of me watching them, I knew the moves left and right. I just needed to get in there. And as soon as I got in there, man, I realized that that most of us have the fear of the unknown inside of us. But once you become comfortable in the uncomfortable, you rise above. It just happens naturally. You don't even have to think about it, right? So after that, man, I went back to school, and next time I got bullied by that kid, man, I put it on him, choke him out. But guess what? Now I'm really good friends with him. After that he realized he couldn't bully me anymore. I took him in,
really?
We became friends. And he reached out to me a few years ago. His name is Ricardo Pineda from Lima, Peru. So
does he still fight?
Good human being, solid guy, family man. So that just tells you, I don't forget, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And now I'm teaching jiu-jitsu. I fought all over the world. I travel from, Russia to Georgia, Peru, Japan. And I remember my little beginnings, my little fights in the park in San Isidro and Miraflores in Peru. And that's what I tell when I teach my kids jiu-jitsu class. I have some of the kids that just come in, they get frustrated and they cry. And I tell them, man, I was in your shoes. I used to cry all the time. It wasn't cry out of fear. It was cry out of anger because I didn't know how to deal with the frustration that somebody was bigger, stronger, bullying you. And most people read that as a weakness, because our little bodies can't figure out how to deal with it. We don't have the experiences. So either two things you're going to do. You're going to run, or you're just going to bite your teeth and cry because it's a frustration. So once I teach the kids that and make them realize it's like, hey, just think through it, relax, breathe. I see myself in those kids. You know what I'm saying? So I love teaching martial arts. So that was kind of like the beginning of my life, and it got me to I joined the Marine Corps right up out of high school, right after I graduated. Me and a good buddy of mine, and that was the best thing I ever did, man. That just put more solid foundation on what I already built. It's just a resilient dude, immigrant coming from Peru, and you know how the Marine Corps still disciplining you, man. They just they push it in you, down your throat. Get on that right now, boom.
Oh, absolutely. So, and that's crazy to think. So, a couple things was that guy Ricardo did he actually fight, or was he just a bully? Like, did he?
No. He was the biggest kid in school at the time.
I was one of those.
Right, and he would just, I don't think he was bullying, but he would definitely take advantage of him being bigger and take everything from anybody. He would push me, and I think one time was like, in Peru it was different. It was like, hey, it'd shake fists, and it's like, I'll see you at the park right across from the school, right? And man, I didn't know how to fight, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't a small kid. I was still kind of like a chunky little kid, bigger, right? But man, it was a different game when I got to the park. I put my hands up. I'm like nervous, and I remember he just like slapped me. It wasn't even a close fist. At least a close fist is like, all right.
Open-handed you?
Wow. And then I remember it was so strong and so big that I knew that he was so much bigger than me that I wasn't going to make a difference. That's what I thought then, not now, if I would have known.
Right.
But as soon as he slapped me, man, I tried to grab him, and he hit me like 3 more times because I was just trying to grab him. And I remember vivid. I was like, my tears start rolling down, just of anger. And the people jumped in and broke us off, But then that's when he goes, oh, Pineda made him cry and all this stuff. And by then I was like, man, this is BS. I need to learn how to fight because it's not going to happen to me again,
Right.
There was two paths I could take at that moment. Just get out of the way, forget about everything ever happened, hide and keep a low profile, or prepare myself when that moment happens again. And I'll be like, there's not going to be a second chance he's going to slap me, And if he is, man, he's going to know my name at the end of that fight. So
you know what's crazy you say that about these paths, because, and I'm sure someone's going to get triggered by me saying this, but as men, like there's all, for most part, every dude that I know, you end up in these crossroads where it's like somebody wants to pick a fight with you. And if you go this way, like you walk away, now you're weak, but or you can go this way, like you said, and go toward the fight. And I felt like when I was coming up in high school, I was always really short and really skinny, but I can throw them things, but I think after 8th grade, because I used to get suspended like every week when I was in middle school, and I told myself, I was like, okay, I'm going to high school. It's just not going to happen anymore. Of course, freshman year, everybody wants to pick on me because I'm smaller, like, and I hang with some of the cool kids. So I was like, I kept trying to walk away. I moved to Arizona. I go to Phoenix. And at least in California, like when we used to fight, it used to be a standard one-on-one. Like if someone jumps in, then you're getting beat up. Like we're not doing the whole jumping thing.
Right,
as soon as I moved to Phoenix, what's that?
That was the old school way, right?
Yeah.
It was never about the group. It was just about you and whoever your beef was. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you shook hands afterwards. But when I moved to Phoenix, hell no. It was the same thing. People always wanted to start fights with me. But as soon as I said, okay, let's get it, it's always, well, he's going to get his friend. And he's got 2 other people. I was like, you either want to throw down or you don't. Like, how do you get off by jumping somebody, but you're the one starting the fight? So I found myself always taking this side to where I was like, all right, let me just keep walking away. But every once in a while, you get that person that just gets you in the corner, and then they find out the hard way. So I believe me, I resonate to exactly what you're saying. Like, and I do. Sometimes it's hard to take a hit, and I've been sucker punched before. I don't know if you have, but still find some way to bite my lip and walk away, man. But I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. I haven't been sucker punched. I think it was one time I got sucker punched, like real, right, at a bar. And I didn't even see it coming, man. It was just like, I remember I was helping the bartender, right? I walk out of this bar, Mickey Quinn's, Ronan, if you're watching, he's the bartender I helped out. This guy was like grabbing girls' butts left and right. Big dude, right? And he had a whole posse of them, like all of them. I have some friends with me too, but I never got involved, So Ronan is a little Irish guy, out of Mickey Quinn's over there in Seminole, Florida. He tells the guy, hey, you gotta go. Simple as that, right? So everybody in the group were walking out, and I could see like a little group going around, Ronan, right? As they're walking out. So I walk out there just to keep my eye on him, right?
Yeah.
So
see what's going on.
Right here. And the guy that he was kicking out was right in front of him, right? And all I see was this guy, boom, hits him right in the jaw. And Ronan is like, drops. So my first instinct was like, push the guy that just hit him. And then as I'm trying to pick up Ronan, his buddy from behind me hit me. He must have thrown a bomb because he hit me this way, right? And I remember watching Ronan towards the ground, like, am I looking at you right now? And then the next thing, it was like black. And then when I turn around, I was spin looking at the glass door on my way down. So it was like a gap of like, I don't know, half a second. But it was like, imagine if you blink your eyes now, and then when you open them, you're looking at the side of the floor behind you. You know what I'm saying? So what happened is I got a flash knockout, right? And my feet were standing in place. So when my body rotated, my right ankle stayed in place, and my knee rotated, and I broke my fibula on the right. It just kind of snapped. So when I landed, I kind of woke up with the pain, and I'm on the ground like this, and my buddies came up, and it was like 20 of them, just like run him out, beat him up. But that's when I realized, it's like, doesn't matter how good of a fighter you are. In a bar, in a bad situation like this, you can't see it coming, And I remember they drove, ambulance came in and they took me to the VA hospital because it was right on Bay Pines, a couple blocks from that.
Right.
And they took care of me, they put a cast on me and everything else. It took me about 10 weeks to heal up, But it was just, I never saw the punch. Somebody came from behind. And that's what I tell people. I see those videos of people like punching people in the street for no reason. They don't understand that. Yeah, when they drop, man, they can die. You kill somebody. They watch so many movies and the thing is like, oh, you hit the guy in the face 20 times and he fights you back. So one punch is not going to do anything. So you hit somebody in the jaw, he's out cold, and that head bounces off the freaking canvas or the floor. You can kill him. Simple as that. So I was, since that day, man, every time I'm very aware of my surroundings, the amount of people. I never fight anybody. But if I got guys that are like, they see my ears all chewed up and they got cauliflower ear, and they're like, oh, you fight? I was like, I train a little, man. Just trying to stay humble, Don't get me wrong. You push me in a corner, I'll defend myself. You mess with my family, I'll defend myself. But other than that, man, I apologize to many people. I was like, hey, I'm sorry, man. Let me buy you a beer. Let me buy you a drink. Because I learned that is that is the best way to do it. I teach my kids to the best way is get out of a fight. But if you have to, if you get them pushed to a corner, then you use your martial arts to defend yourself. But other than that, man, that's why I can tell you, I've been maybe one fight my whole life, like outside of professional fighting.
Right.
I'm going to fight, man. Might as well just pay me for it, right?
Right. Like, what am I going to put myself through this pain for no reason?
At the end of the day, if that guy would have said to me, hey, let's go out in the parking lot and fight, I would have. I was young. But guess what would have happened? That fight would have sent me to the hospital to fix my leg. I would have been like, I think it was like, they sent me, the VA sent me like a $200, $300 bill for that. But imagine if it was a regular hospital, ambulance ride, it would have been thousands of dollars,
Right.
So I'm like, man, if I'm going to fight, I might as well get paid for it. I have insurance, I'll be good to go. So when you get these bullies that come out and want to fight you in the bar, man, I was like, really? You're going to endanger your life for a bar fight? You know what I'm saying? I got too much to lose. I got a beautiful family. I got the students behind me. Don't get me wrong, I'll fight, but it'll be as a last resort,
See, and I appreciate, I'm going to say warrior, like for those that know anything about martial arts, like the term warrior is kind of like, to me, what kind of sums up what a fighter is. Like, see, we say fight, and when some people hear the word fight, it means something different than when you're talking about a fighter when you're actually doing it. And I appreciate people like you because you don't allow your ego to get the best of you. Like, some of the best fighters that I've ever seen are some of the calmest people in the world. Calmest, most cool, like in any situation. They can get pushed and it's like, oh, dude, hey, that's my fault, man. I shouldn't have gotten your way. Meanwhile, in their head, it's like, dude, I could literally destroy you like so fast. But because they're so disciplined with their, their martial arts, it's like, that's what they teach you, right? I'm pretty sure that's what you do in your academy. You teach, it's not just about the actual techniques. It's like, like the warrior spirit behind it. You're defending yourself, like you're teaching people to conquer their fears when they get put in a position to where they feel uncomfortable. What do you do at that point? And to me, that's more so what encompasses martial arts rather than a Jet Li movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And that's one of the things I love about coaching and teaching. Now that I'm getting a little bit older, I was just training for was going to be my retirement fight about 8-9 weeks ago, and I tore my Achilles. Right?
I saw that. I was so hurt, man.
You were hurt. I was hurt, man. I was crying like a little girl.
You're being selfish.
I was out here, actually, right here.
Oh, you're in pain? Nah, dude, I was in more pain, bro. It was right here. That's just funny.
The thing is, I was going live, right? I was going like live sparring, and we were doing takedown defense. And man, I had some solid group of guys that came down here from Jacksonville to train with me. So I got Nate and Aaron were working with me. Nate's a black belt over there in Jacksonville. Shout out to him. Aaron felt so bad because we're starting takedowns, right? So he's grabbing my leg and I'm fighting from it, and I was jumping on my my left leg, and then all of a sudden I feel like and I thought he kicked the back of my leg to take me down, but I watched the video later because we were going live on Facebook too. So I was like, cut that feet off. But when I landed, it wasn't that he kicked me. It was just I landed on my leg so hard that I snapped my Achilles. It's just a spot, right? And then I grabbed it when I fell down because I thought he kicked me. So imagine grabbing the bottom of your heel on your Achilles, right? And then all you feel is like jello. There is no that hard tension that you get back there. And at that point, he made it even worse in my head. So I was like, ah! And then I was like, I just like, call 911, dude, because I'm not getting up. Call 911, I need some meds. It was funny because I was kind of laughing at the time, but I was like that nervous laughing, you know, like, oh my God. And then Coach Nate, he goes, hey, do you want me to cut the live feed on Facebook? This is after I'm cursing and going like,
cut it
off.
Get me out of here.
After I was like, man, people saw me like that. So, and he didn't share it. He deleted it, right? So nobody can see it afterwards. It was good.
So if you saw it, you saw it. But after that, the evidence is gone.
So then I went live again like 5 minutes later when I calmed myself down and tried to echo a little tougher. You know, I was like, hey, guys, you know. And the ambulance came in and they gave me this freaking, she's like, you're going to feel great after this. Man, I don't know what it was, but I could see like purple around my ears. It was like weird. I could see my ears. Imagine that. I could see my ears, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was weird, man. I think it was like, what was the medication? It was morphine? Above, like, no, it was more than morphine, right? It was the stuff that cops now, if you touch it, you know, when they detain people, if they touch a little bit, they get sick. You know, they have to get an EpiPen on them. But it's medicated, so it's, you know,
cops
obviously
got that stuff?
Control. Yeah, the ambulance
pulled over.
And the lady, when she saw my leg, she's like, hey, you need this, you know? And it was good, man. I was like talking normal. I felt no pain, go to a naval hospital. But yeah, man, after the surgery, they reattached it. That's when the real pain began. I thought it was over. You know, I got knee surgery, shoulder surgery. You really take, you know, your medication. You don't feel a lot of pain, discomfort maybe. But for that week after surgery, it was the most painful thing. So don't mess around with your Achilles, man. That shit was horrible. I was in pain, brother. So, but after that, now I feel better. I can walk now. So now I'm starting rehab, pushing it a little bit. And I'm still going to do my last fight over there at Blue Corner Mixed Martial Arts in Kansas City, Missouri at the Harris Casino. So shout out to my boy, Ben Nogueras. He's the president of Blue Corner Battles, Blue Corner MMA over there in Kansas City. So I'll be out there and throwing down one more time, and that's it. And after that, I'm just going to focus on jiu-jitsu and retire from mixed martial arts.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's crazy too, because it's funny. Somebody was actually asking me the other day because I told him one of my friends, you know, she did mixed martial arts, and they asked her like, I didn't even know she still does it. I was like, dude, listen, especially like the ones that make it to the top, most people don't just get to the top and just stop mixed martial arts altogether. Whether they're doing more instructing, doing more of the business sides, where they're, you know, opening more opportunities for fighters. Because I've always noticed that like fighters are always like, it's like this tight niche group. It's like veterans, you know, this tight niche group, and they're always looking for ways to help people. And I think I've been lucky enough to not run into too many, you know, instructors or too many fighters. Been to too many gyms where like the egos were high. And like I said, I think I'm maybe like 220 right now. I used to be like 245. So, you know, you develop an ego. You think you're like this tough guy, you know what I'm saying? And you're learning how to train. And it was so hard for me to get into like jiu-jitsu for the longest time because I would just like out-strengthen everybody. Yeah. And so you get that one dude, you're like, oh, now I'm about to destroy him. And he's putting you in a pretzel. Like, he's like,
you're the nerdiest guy of the group. He's like a jiu-jitsu nerd, you know? He's like figuring out the equation between your hip and your knee bone. It's like, oh, the angle's got to be correctly.
Well, if I take the right angle and correct the obtuse in your kneecap.
That's what happens. Man, that's what happens. Or the worst thing is you get a jiu-jitsu nerd that weighs 260 pounds and is 6'4". That's when you're in trouble. You know what I'm saying? That's what I tell people, man. Size matters. But if you're a big, strong dude and you're also a beast in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu wrestling, just imagine you're like that. If you're looking at percentage-wise in the world, right? You're in the world, you're probably like a 2 or 3% of like the baddest man alive. We're not talking about fighters. Fighters, like top 10 fighters in the world is like less than 0.06%. It's less than COVID death. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So imagine that, right? So I tell people, it's like, man, you're big enough, you can kind of fend off some of this stuff. Try jujitsu, try mixed martial arts, learn, and that's just only gonna add to your already well-rounded type of strong beast mentality.
Right.
That's what I tell people, man. If you're a strong guy, I practice little man jujitsu, right? My instructor, Sensei Fujita in Japan, he fights at 125 pounds. Yeah, right?
Oh, there's no way I could get down to 125.
Trust me, man. We were sitting in the sauna in last year. We're at the World Masters in Vegas, right? So we're cutting weight, man. And he's just very disciplined. But listen, this is funny shit. This guy flies all the way from Japan, right? Mm-hmm. And all he wants to do to cut weight is he goes to the 7-Eleven or whatever store here, and he buys two little bottles of Dr. Pepper, right? Yeah. And that's it. For the last 2 days, he was sipping on Dr. Pepper. I didn't see him eat. I didn't see him drink water. He would wake up, take a little bit. 3 hours later, a little Dr. Pepper. So he was feeding himself sugar to keep himself kind of like energized.
Right.
But we're sitting in the water. We got to dehydrate. I think I had to lose one time at like 18 pounds in one day. It was crazy. He walks himself like 135, so it's only 10. But you got to remember, if you're 130, 135, you ain't got much weight to lose. You know what I'm saying? He was already skin and bones. But he's always made weight. And the jujitsu that he teaches me, it's little man jujitsu. Leverage, grips, using points of leverage to overcome. So when I use that, and I'm already a big guy, if I do get somebody that's a little more skilled and is beating me into those points, I can go freaking Hulk smash on their ass and get my strength out there. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather do that than realize, go in and use my strength and then find that one guy that's as strong or stronger than me. And then I'm like, oh, how do I do this? How does this technique? So when you see me, man, with my guys, I go to my bag, I put myself in different positions until I start feeling like they're getting the best of me. And then I put a little bit of weight, a little bit of muscle in there. So the little things that we learn as we become a little bit older, use some trickery and to be able to beat the young guys still.
No, absolutely. Because like even when I was, doing the whole, martial arts instruction, like classes and running like the MAI course and stuff, it's good and bad, right? There's always this ego that gets taught to Marines when it comes to like martial arts, because especially from boot camp, kill, just strike. Everything is as hard and intense as possible. Not really. I mean, I guess you realize, but like later on, it's like you're really kind of honing down and teaching them how to be calm and not just like exert all their energy and all their force. So I would get a lot of dudes that's like, I guess one of the things I would always say is like no knee bars, no neck cranks, and no like ankle locks, because most people that if you can't control your strength already, like think about how easy you could snap a knee. Or I mean, I'm sure you've been in neck cranks before. Like the day afterwards, you're like this. You can't walk, especially if they do it wrong, because they just pull on it. So I always tell them like, look, don't do any of these. I want you to work, breathe through it. You know what I'm saying? Don't tire yourself out and work on technique. But you always get those select few that like want to like go balls to the wall. Like, how do you control that? Like, what's your like teaching point for that? Is it more of the physical part of you doing it, or are you just talking them through it as you do it?
Well, with the new guys, the new guys usually come in and they think this is a competition. It's like I got to figure that out. I got to come in and show like, hey, most of the new guys that come in with an open mind to learn, before they get to the mat, I already tell them, hey, listen, leave your ego at the door. It's going to be a great experience. It's a long journey ahead. So take your time, and you're not here to win the, Abu Dhabi trials or the, world champions, right? You're just coming here to learn, right? But you still get a few that come in, and then they'll pick that smaller person in the class and then start going rough. Me as a good instructor, I'm outside watching, right? My new guys. So if I see that, then all I have to do is tap on one of my blue belts, little more experienced guys. Or, if you get somebody that's maybe a beast of a wrestler that comes in, Then I'll get like my sharks. I get the big guys. I get my brown belts, right? Ashby. I get Coach Eric. I get my purple belts. End finger. I was like, hey guys, look over there. Protect your dojo. You know, they're not gonna hurt him, but they're really gonna humble him real quick.
Right.
I remember this happened one time in St. Robert, Missouri, in our first school that we opened up in Fort Leonard Wood, right? Mm-hmm. We were training a bunch of our people, and we had this guy that was a collegiate All-American wrestler that came in, Kyle Noblet. He's a professional MMA fighter now. Really nice guy, to be honest with you, afterwards, right? But he was a good wrestler. So when he came in, he had that wrestling mentality. So we had a big cage that we had some of our, fighters training, I said fighters, but they weren't really fighters. They were training MMA, right?
Right.
And I remember I just got out of knee surgery. And so I had my brace on my leg, and I had a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. And they were grappling. Man, this guy was like going like gorilla, like gray back, slamming people left and right, And my students themselves were kind of going like, oh, hey, Colton, one of my other blue belts and over there, hey, come in. Colton was a good fighter, but he was 155 pounds. So he got handed a little bit by Kyle. Kyle, I think, Noblet fights at 205. Like, he's probably weighing at 235, 240.
Right.
Man, and I got so, like, angry, like, hurt, like, these guys coming into my house and doing this. So I say, I hobbled my butt over there with my brace on. I got all my students looking at me, and I, shook hands. And you just used to shake hands and go like this. And I can tell you, Colton Carmack, all those guys, if you're watching right now, they were there. They'll tell you right now. I choked him out. I did an arm drag when he dropped, kind of came to me.
Right.
Arm drag. I put a hook on the other side with my arm, throw my leg over, and I ended up on his back. Right. And I was like, man, I'm not getting out of this. So I just locked in the rear naked choke and squeezed. He tapped, and it took about like 13 seconds from beginning to end. So I was great. I think it was a little bit of luck too that I got the position. You know what I'm saying? But this guy came in as a collegiate wrestler, and then we became kind of friends. He had a team, and he fought in my promotion. Once we started a company that we put shows together, mixed martial arts shows. He came and fought, and he took the title. He destroyed everybody. But it was good to me to step in, to show my teammates that technique overpowers muscle and aggression, right? Because after that, those guys are still talking. Colton Carmack, his dad, Nathan Carmack, he was there. He's like, hey, coach, get in there, And after I choked him out, he's like, holy crap, I can't believe, And I was like, thank God it didn't go longer, I don't want to tear my knee apart again, I just got out of surgery. So that's one of the stories I tell my guys sometimes. I was like, listen, technique overpowers, Now, don't get me wrong. At one point, it doesn't matter how much great technique you have. If I'm 65, 70 years old, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Because the muscle fibers, the tendon strength is decreased so much. But that 70-year-old red belt, coral belt, black belt can teach you so much knowledge that will make your young body, your strong body, the way it should be. Because, that's why I use those, like Yuki Nakai, my instructor's instructor in Japan. He is a legend over there, right? An MMA legend. So shout out to Yuki Nakai over there. He's the president of the JBJJF, Japanese Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation over there in Japan. Okay. And he's a beast of a guy, but he was also a small guy. They used to call him the giant killer, right? And he's famous for a documentary called Choke, where this was back in the day when MMA was basically soccer kicks to the head, everything in Japan, the Pride days. And there was a tournament where any weight class, anything happened. So if you see it, check it out. It's called Choke. Yuki Nakai and Hickson Gracie end up at the finals, right? So, but when Yuki Nakai, on all his matches, he went against Gerard, and this guy was like 215 pounds, tall dude. He heel hooked him, right? And Yuki Nakai, I think, was weighing in like 135 at the time. And the guy dug his fingers into his eye to try to, obviously it's illegal. And man, his eye was shut down. It was crazy. It was close. And he won that fight. And then he was going to the quarterfinals. And then he fought this beast of a guy, this big black dude. I forgot his name, man. I'm sorry. But if you see the show, you'll see it. And then he ends up beating him on an armbar. But the guy was so strong that he picked him up like this into the ropes. And he locked him out as he picked him up with his own weight and won by armbar, which put him in the finals. What we didn't know after this, once Rickson Gracie is one of the best fighters that ever lived.
Right.
On that show, at the end of the finals, Rickson Gracie was, so impressed by him that he was telling his corners, he's like, listen, I'm going to fight him, but I'm not going to throw one punch. I'm going to grapple him because the guy couldn't see from one eye, right? His face was all destroyed, but he was still going out that Japanese warrior spirit. He went in there and fought. And they grapple, and Rickson ended up beating him with a rear naked choke, right? But he made that such an impression in between the Yuki Nakai shoot wrestling and being a professional judo fighter, and Rickson Gracie being a Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter, that they meshed together, become friends. Yuki Nakai went to Brazil, earned his black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu after winning the Pan Ams. And then the whole world turned around. The Brazilian jiu-jitsu went back to Japan through Yuki Nakai. And Yuki Nakai started teaching. He was the first black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu in Japan, even though jiu-jitsu came from Japan, 80, 100 years ago, right, to Brazil. And Brazil morphed it into what Brazilian jiu-jitsu is now. And it went back through that. And so we're all touched by everything. If you look at my gym, it goes Mitsuya Maeda, Carlos Gracie Sr., Carlos Gracie Jr., Yuki Nakai, Fujita, and then me. You know what I'm saying? So that lineage just spreads out like a spider's web. It goes. Everybody's been touched by jiu-jitsu. We all know an instructor that stopped, trained with somebody else. So that's how my roots became in Japan. Sensei Fujita was with me from blue belt all the way up to black belt. Promoted me, and I keep the same principles of what he taught me, and I pass it on to my guys. And eventually, I'm going to be that old guy, with a lot of black belts, and those black belts are going to have their own purple belts and black belts and academies going left and right. So we just got to keep passing the positive, man.
Man, I swear, first of all, let me say thank you, because your ability to captivate an audience, I'm over here I don't even want to talk. I'm just but I'm dead serious. The way you just the imagery that you were given from just speaking about the different instructors and where it came from, and the fact, and once again, this goes to the selflessness of most martial artists, is instead of talking about yourself constantly, you're sitting there, you're elevating other people that came before you and those that have actually helped you out. And that is literally one of the things that I love the most about martial arts, and especially someone that actually takes the time to learn the history and actually cares about the roots of where they come from. So, I think we're going to go over a little bit today, if you don't mind. Normally we end at 6:30, but I'm probably going to push 40 or 45, because one, I want to hear some more of your story. And two, we got started late. We got, we're maxed out in the chat right now. So I think other people want to listen. So I'm going to go an extra 15 minutes. Hopefully everybody don't mind. Either way, it's going to be recorded and pushed out. But I want to go over, first of all, like I said, that's an amazing story. And to hear about your background, because that's all things that I never even knew about, about you. Like I said, I encountered you actually in the gym, and I watched you actually have the impact on others when you were starting to, you opened up the dojo inside the what was the gym called, Iwakuni?
Ironworks.
Yeah, there we go. I remember opening the dojo and stuff like that, and and going in there and trying to get that consistent and having a hard time. We had to get on some stupid list at the front desk to reserve it or something. It was ridiculous. Yeah. Nobody's even in there, To go from that and to where you're at now. I know we talked a little bit about your not only your entrepreneurship spirit, but also your path and how you got to that point. A lot of people are trying to open a gym. A lot of people want to kind of transition to the entrepreneur side. So can you talk about transitioning from the Marine Corps to now? Did you start doing the entrepreneurship after you right after you got out?
Yeah, no. I started a little bit earlier, right? As a matter of fact, I always had a little push from my family to become an entrepreneur. I always saw my mom was a good saleswoman. She was always out there hustling, even in Peru, right? So I always knew the difference that, hey, if you have something good, a good product, or something that you're good at, you're going to be all right. You can be great, but at the minimum, you're going to be all right. So I remember I was in Japan, and all of us in the military started from the bottom, unless you got some cool, fancy MOS that you got promoted like to staff sergeant like a year,
Admin, now straight.
No, but I remember being I joined a long time ago, bro. It was like '98 when I joined the Marine Corps, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I joined the Marine Corps. Yeah, 1998. But I had broken time. I got out, in 2004, and I got out to follow I couldn't be a professional fighter while active duty back then, Right. But then that changed. I think in 2006, 2007, I came back on active duty, and I head down to Japan, and I was there for 3 years, and then took an IA Billy, went to Afghanistan. Then that's where I met my wife, in Iwakuni.
Okay.
We were both MPs there. And then we came back later as me as a civilian, and she went back to PMO as a operations chief. But when I was in Japan the second time, I was a sergeant there, and my sister, Denise, wanted to open up a nail salon spa in South America, in Lima, Peru, where our family's from, right?
Really?
Okay. And actually, she started it, and she was like, hey, things are kind of rough right now. Would you like to take on a partnership with me? At that time, I'm sure my sister is watching, but at the time, the partnership became kind of like me, putting some money down. And I was like, hey, when are we going to get some money this way? But it taught me from me, eventually we failed, right? The business was doing great, but we had some problems putting family to work in there. Don't mix business with family, please. Listen to this. Help family.
Advice.
Help family. If you need it, help them, but do not put your family in a position where you one time have to go in and fire them, right? So that's what happened. We had a family member in there in charge, and then the accounting thing wasn't too well, So at the end, we sold it, and we recouped some of the money back, but it taught me a lot. I was like, man, if I can run a nail salon from Iwakuni to Lima, Peru, in South America, never step foot, and kind of make it work, imagine what I can do if I'm there. You know what I'm saying? So I always had an idea. And then I was already, at that time I was already a professional mixed martial artist, and I was looking at what is my end state? Am I going to fight for the rest of my life? Am I going to do this? It's just like a Marine. A fighter's time frame is small, right? The Marine will give you 20 years. After that, your knees, your body start hurting. You can't be a Marine forever, right? At one point, they'll kick you out, master guns, you're out, right? So what do you do then? You're not old in the civilian sector. You're old in the Marine Corps, right? When you get out at 40, you're like, oh, crap, this is old. But when you get in the civilian sector, people start new careers at 40. There's cops that, they just started a career at 38, 39. So I started thinking about opening my school. What do I need to do? I need to become a really good instructor, because there's a difference of fighting and knowing what to do something, how to do something, and knowing how to coach, how to be an instructor. So I took a lot of courses in the Marine Corps, a lot of courses that would require me to stand in front of people and talk and not to say a bunch of times, and keeping my hands in place. Marine Corps martial arts instructor course taught me how to teach properly, eat up,
Absolutely.
Eat up, imitate, practice, right? All this stuff, it was just like I'm absorbing it, because I knew at one point it was going to be my time to put it all out there and get some fruits back, right? And it worked just like that. It was kind of, we got orders after Afghanistan. My wife, she wasn't my wife at the time, got orders to Fort Leonard Wood to become a military police instructor. And I head over there too. We got married, and they gave me orders over there. Was there for 3 years, 2.5 years as an MP, and then it was my time to re-enlist. I was a staff sergeant then, and I was planning to stay in, but at that point I already opened my gym in St. Robert, and it was small. It was like maybe 5,000 square foot, and it went great. I wasn't expecting the gym to go like that. We had mats, we had a cage, and a boxing ring. And basically, we had some friends that I was teaching home base, some Army guys for free. And then when I told them, hey guys, I'm planning to open a school home base. Are you guys with me? Yep. I had like 20 guys that were in there paying their dues. Next thing you know, somebody told somebody, and then some kids start showing up. And man, we were like 100 members in, 150 members in. And after 6 months of doing that, and we were only open from 5:30 in the afternoon to 9 p.m. at night, Monday through Friday, Saturday, right? So imagine doing that while you're an instructor in the Marine Corps, waking up at 4:30 to run your Marines, teach them all day long military police stuff. And if you can get out of at 1700, if you can get out at 5 p.m., it was like magic, right? So I would put my sergeant, it's like, hey sergeant, you got it, just close it down, everything, you know? And I started getting bad looks from the first sergeant, you know, because I was making money on the outside and I was kind of leaving work, not early, but on time, you know? And it was creating friction at work. So that's when I turned to math. I look at what was coming in for our business. And at the time, I think it was roughly around $14,000 a month the gym was making. And me being a staff sergeant in the Marine Corps, right? I was like, man, in 3 months, I'm making what I would make in a year if I was single, just a staff sergeant, right? My wife was a gunny at the time. And I look at my wife and say, listen, man, my re-enlistment is up in 2 weeks. I know I got all I have to do is go sign the papers and I'm good. But we invested in this gym. My wife and I put our blood, sweat, and tears into this business. I don't think I can do it both. I'll do this justice to my Marines, or I do this justice on the, injustice to the school. Right. My wife is like, do what you want to do. I love, I'm going to stay in the Marine Corps. I'm going to do 20 and I'm going to be out. So when she said that, man, I went over to the first sergeant and said, sorry, man, I'm not re-enlisted. I'm out in 2 weeks. And you know how that went on the chain of command, right? Because no tap steps. I hadn't done anything. They're like, what? You can't do that? They all freaking went crazy. But at the end, I was like, I'm not signing. I'm not, they're trying to give me a page 11 for not telling my chain of command I was leaving. I was like, man, it's my career, it's my life, Right. Like. And after that, man, it was like the best thing I ever did because I was free, essentially. So I started opening my gym at 5:30 in the morning, like I did when I was a Marine. And now I got a whole different crowd of the drill sergeants from Fort Leonard Wood coming in and training early, weightlifting. So we added a weightlifting program. I got all the moms that were dropping their kids off at school at 8 o'clock and then coming back down and doing yoga, doing CrossFit. So we put a whole new program. I got a great instructor, Luana King. Shout out to Luana King over there. Phenomenal instructor. She was a CrossFit certified instructor, and she was just an athlete. She was from Brazil. And I remember this, man. She came to my gym and she was kind of crying a little bit when she came in, right? And I was, hey, you're all right? Big old belly. She was pregnant, 8 months pregnant. And she told me that the CrossFit gym a couple blocks away had fired her because they thought that she was taking customers to her house and training them and kind of undercutting the gym, right? And my first thought is like, who the hell fires a 8 months old pregnant woman that is working at your gym, man?
Yeah,
so I felt so bad.
Help. She doesn't need to make sure she takes care of family or anything.
Oh my God, I felt so sad. And I was like, listen, we're a martial arts school. We don't have weights, but yes, come in. We do whatever we need to do. What do we need to start your program? She said, all I need is like one barbell, a couple kettlebells, and we can make a program kind of like that, And man, I was like, I was on it. I was no longer a Marine anymore. I had all the time in the world. So I got 2. And then next thing you know, she started bringing customers from the other gym that loved her. And we had like 20, 30 people in our gym.
Yes.
That were no martial art related at all. They were just good people. And next thing you know, I was like, I see the investment. So I went in, I make some phone calls. I had some money set aside. I'm going to, we put in a 24-foot pull-up rig. We bought 24 bars. I think we got about 4,000 pounds of rubber bumper plates, artificial turf. We put it on the whole 5,000 square foot on the bottom. And we never looked back after that. And she was the catalyst for the whole movement. A year later after that, we moved the school to Waynesville, Missouri. So we took over a Dollar General. A big Dollar General was empty.
Oh, nice.
And then, so we had roughly almost 10,000 square foot facility there. And then I put in 24-hour access for the people that just want to come in and train on their own. We bought ellipticals, rowers. I mean, you can imagine, we have tanning beds in the place, sauna, you know what I'm saying? So I would have never done that if I wasn't if I didn't get out of the military when I did, because I couldn't have the funds, because I wasn't generating enough revenue by me being there all day long. And when you're sitting there in a desk between 11:30 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon when the gym is empty, that's where what else can I do? What can I start? Let me start a lunch class for the kids, homeschool program for the kids. And now all the homeschool kids that had nothing to do between those empty hours of the gym, I had like 30 kids doing physical training and all this other stuff. And I realized it's like, man, the more I push myself, the more I invest in myself, somehow I'm just making it better, you know? Then I met Todd and Holly, were strength and conditioning coaches in our new facility. Awesome people. He was a retired Army. He retired from the Army, and he was a great strength and conditioning coach. My wife got orders to Japan from Fort Leonard Wood, and everything came crashing down. I was like, holy crap, now I got to go to Japan and run the gym from Japan. And remember the idea when I had a gym in another country, I'm not a gym, but a spa, I was like, this is not going to work out well, right? Because you can hire a good manager, which I did. Courtney Olson, shout out to her. She took care of the gym. She did phenomenal. She was like a go-getter. And we did great, man. I had an instructor there. When I left, there wasn't the best instructor, you know. He was a technical guy, but he wasn't a team player. It was more about him than it was for the students. And became, you know, we got rid of him now. He's fired and gone. But I sold that gym after, when I was in Japan for about a year and a half, when I was with you over there. I sold it to my strength and conditioning coach, Todd Angel, and his wife. And man, it was the best thing I did, because I didn't want to just sell the gym to somebody that was just going to be, all right, I'm investment, I'm going to put money. I want to pass the gym to somebody that had the same values, same thing that, you know, that I wanted. And what better than my strength and conditioning coach that was helping me fight and go into a fight in a cage with me, right? So I sold it to him. I did owner financing because I know how tough it is, you know, so I financed it for him. You know, we paid half up front and the rest into 9 years, 8 years, I think it was. I think there's 6 left or 5. But I trust him with my life, you know, they're great people. And now they're running a phenomenal facility. The numbers are double. There's kids programs, taekwondo program. There's everything. So I just came back from there. I flew to Missouri over there to promote my good friend Frank Rodriguez over there to black belts. That's a big promotion to black belts. Sensei Fujita signed it from Japan, and we promoted it there. And now he's in charge of it. Dave Frizzle, he's also a black belt over there. That he's going to be there for about a month. And he's heading to Korea, and then he's going to run a program over there teaching jiu-jitsu under CXBJJ in Korea. So we keep expanding and growing. So I never looked back after that, you know? So when we went to Japan, I started a contract with MCCS, partnered up with my instructor in Hiroshima. We put our logo, CXBJJ, and an academy together in Hiroshima. And it was a beautiful sight to see, man, you know, to see your name, CXMMA in English, Enrique Watson, in some Japanese building, you know, next to a 7-Eleven, in the middle of Hiroshima. There's no military close to it. It's like the closest one is Iwakuni, right? So it's just beautiful, man. And that's what gave me the kind of drive to keep going. We got orders here a year ago. And as soon as I landed, a good buddy of mine that was running one of our affiliates, CXBJJ in Cedar Point, wasn't doing so good in the business. So when I came in, I was like, hey, come on, let's do this. And we opened CXBJJ Swansboro, which is in between Cedar Point and Lejeune. And man, the first day we opened the doors, I think we had about 60 members that came in and signed up just because we did the grand opening. A lot of Marines, a lot of my students from Japan that were stationed in Lejeune that got orders, they were like all coming in. I was like, oh my God, Ashby, Adam James, all those guys that were in Japan, they're doing great, you know. Elijah Butler, all those guys are here now training with me, and they help, you know, you plant good seeds, you get good seeds, man, you get good fruit, and that helped me out. Now, before the COVID thing, this place was up to 118 members, and this is the smallest gym we have. This is only like 1,700 square foot. It's all mats. We don't have any weights or anything. We got mats, some tie bags. So it's doing great, man. My buddy and mentor, James Wright, has martial arts and more in Jacksonville, which is about 30 miles from here, 27 miles from here.
Right.
Even. And when I first came in, he got me under contract to go teach over there for a year, So I was teaching, I think, 4 classes a week. So we put our logo over there, and he's a head instructor in the competition style Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, representing CXBJJ in his own school. So he's got a phenomenal team with Nate, Chino, all those guys in there running their own program. But we also have, if you go to our website, CXBJJ Jacksonville, his head instructor is James Wright over there, and he's a entrepreneur, a great mentor. Every one of us should have a mentor. We have, and when you have a mentor, don't go for a mentor that is good at everything, right? You can't find that. Right. I have a spiritual mentor, Colonel Ortiz. He's one of my good friends, and I talk to him. He's a leader, and anything that's got to deal with Jesus in life, he is my spiritual mentor, right? Business-wise, right. I have Ben Noguera in Kansas City. We both started a company called CX MMA International. We put shows together and fights and stuff like that. So to cut it short, man, so I can talk for hours, but to cut it short is once I opened that gym, it made me realize that I have a stable of fighters that need to showcase their skills. So we started a company called CX MMA International, which puts shows, MMA. So I would bring my guys to fight other guys, and we made a business with that. Then I opened all the other schools, and it just kept growing. Now we have a clothing line called CXBJJ Power Brand. So anything that's got to deal with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gis, t-shirts, hoodies, shorts, rash guards, we make it all. So if you want a gi, anything, just hit us up at cxmmainternational.com, and you can see the online store and everything right there, man. It comes right here from Swansboro, North Carolina.
Can you say that link again? CX MMA International?
Yep, cxmmainternational.com.
Okay.
You check us out. You'll see there. You can go and check out their schools. You can check out the instructors. You can check out the events that we got coming up too. Because we also started a company called CXBJJ Tournament Series. We did 2 tournaments in Japan. We did the Iwakuni International last year with over 400 competitors in Japan. Dang. And then we got the US. We got the US National coming up on September 19th here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So there's a CXBJJ US National tournament. We already have, even though through COVID, everything is stopped. We already have over 118 registered to compete. But we're still under restrictions. So as soon as that opens up, man, I think it's going to be one of the biggest tournaments here in the Eastern North Carolina. So I'm excited about that. So let's keep grinding.
That's so like you said, I think, because honestly, I'm so locked on and focused to what you're saying. I could listen to you talk for hours. But if I could pick a couple things, if I could say, one, what would you tell someone that's an up and coming entrepreneur about the goods, the bads, and the uglies of things that they're going to deal with kind of quickly, and then also how people can go about, because a lot of people struggle with finding the money. They have that idea, but just getting the money for what they're going to need for the business. And then what was the third thing I was going to say? Money, and we can start with that.
All right.
I can't.
So what I would say first advice: don't take advice from people that are not experts on the field that you are trying to invest or do. Right? I wouldn't go and talk to the guy that has a good talking points and everything about fitness and nutrition if the guy is 300 pounds and looks like crap, right? So I would take advice from a professional bodybuilder that's been there, done it, that he can cut my way down to certain things. So same thing goes with martial arts, entrepreneurship, t-shirt making, any of the opportunities that you need to find somebody that's been there and done it and tries to do it, and ask. Most of us, I would say 99% of them, we are welcoming and will tell you what's good or bad for us. Unless you're a shitty business owner and then you want people to fail so you can do better. But even those people don't last long because the business knows the business, right? I know who the gym owners that are shady, and I will tell my members, hey, don't go there. And the good ones, hey, go train, go cross train over there. It's a great person, go do this. Same thing goes in the anywhere, realty, anything, investments. So I would say, find the person that you find the area that you're good at and go see a top local. You don't have to go find somebody in the, top of the world, but find a local one that is doing something that you want to do, and be honest and say, hey, listen, man, I'm about to get out. I want to do what you're doing. Obviously, I'm not going to compete with you. I don't want to do it here, but what would you say I should do to get started? And he'll tell you straight up, hey, man, you need to, first of all, save some capital. If you don't have it, you need to raise some funds by doing this. I didn't take a loan when I did my business. I started from the bottom. I basically took my paycheck, my wife's paycheck. At the time, both active duty members, you get BH, partial for me, full for her. So we were making a pretty chunk of change for both being active and being together, right? So we had a plan. Because I said, if I fail my first business, I don't want to not have a business and owe money to somebody that for all this crap, right? Exactly. So I said, I'd rather use all my savings combined, and at the end, if I fail, I have all this equipment left that is mine. I don't owe money to anybody. I'll put it in a little storage area, and later when I learn all the mistakes I did, I can go refocus and use that gear and open it again. Simple as that. You will fail. You will fail. Now, some of you will go into business and do great and don't fail, but you will fail small little steps. I'm not saying you're going to fail the business. You're going to fail different situations and learn from them and keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward. And find a good mentor that is good at what they do. You might have a good person that can sell something and he'll tell you how to sell and how to do that. You have another person that's good in finances. Go get some help from them. But you can't try to find that one person that tells you, no, I'm going to do it all. Most of them are just big talk and they're trying to get in your pockets the majority of the time. Learn from your mistakes. Be flexible and listen around. Listen to your customers. Listen to your members. If you're good at what you do, like I said, you said I'm good to listen to, right? I'm easy to listen to. The reason why is because what I'm telling you, it's not lies. It's just stuff that happened to me. It's stuff that I love to do. My instructors, I'm proud on each and every one of them. I love my students. So when I have a barbecue for 4th of July at my house, I have 20, 30 people that show up for my students in their off time, and we just take care of each other. So it's really hard when bad times happen at COVID for my members that are like family to me to come in and say, hey, stop my membership. I know I'm not coming to the gym, but stop it. Why? Because we're connected as a family, and they realize that the lights stay on because of them. Right. So if they want this gym to be here for them 2-3 months down the line when we're close, the lights got to be paid. And I had great support by them, So when you invest your passion to your students, the passion comes right back. Obviously, I don't want my students to be paying for something that they're not going to get for 3 months. So I worked out a deal and say, listen, when we come back and we're rolling full boat ahead, guess what? 15 of you for next month don't have to pay. And then the next 15, you don't have to pay for 2-3 months. So everybody will get their investment back that they did on our gym. And nobody's getting anything for free, not me, not them, right? But we stay together as a tight-knit community. And I found that most business owners, as long as you're honest with your customer, which is your boss, you create a good people. I told a lot of people that were going through troubles through this were not in the military, that were missing paychecks. Some of my students are waiters and waitresses that weren't able to work through those times. I told them, don't pay anything and still come in if you need it. All right. I loan them money. I do whatever I need to do because I understand I've been there. And that connection right there that we have is something that can be faked. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I can't help everybody, but I'm sure if I help 2, 3, 4 people, eventually it'll just go up. It'll just help somebody else. Like yesterday, I started a little GoFundMe for some of the homeless veterans. I posted it on Facebook, and within an hour and a half, we raised over $1,500 on GoFundMe. You know what I'm saying? And I did it. It was, the Goya thing that they're saying, don't use Goya products because they support President Trump, right? So they make it something negative, Right. What they don't understand if you don't support Goya because they support President Trump and you stop using their products, who's hurting? The CEO that's got a bunch of money saved up, or the workers that can't go into work and make hourly wages to support their families, Right. So instead of doing that, what do? I'm going to take this negative and put it into a positive. So I went live. I bought, a couple $100 worth of Goya products. And I said, hey, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to take it up to the homeless people, to the shelters, and pass it on to them. And if you want to do the same, go ahead and do it. And people were sharing this like, hey, the Goya challenge. And a lot of my friends were doing that. The next day, like $30, $40. But at the end of the day, whether you're left or right, whether you're pro-Trump or not, I'm making this negative thing, and guess who's benefiting from it? Hungry people. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care if you don't like me or you don't like anybody. You cannot hate on somebody getting a can of beans and some, tortillas that didn't have it before. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that needs it, really. So people have been donating money to that thing. I'm going to keep it open, and all I'm going to do, somebody reached out to me from the Pack a Bag Foundation. What they do is all the kids that are kind of underprivileged and they don't get good nutrition in schools, by the time they leave school that day, they pack their bags with canned goods and stuff that they can cook a meal in their house for the parents. Right. So the kids can actually have a good, some of those kids eat in school and they go back home and they barely have any nutrition until the next morning when they go back to school. So those things, I can see my money's going somewhere because I'm locally seeing. It's not some corporation that is, I got to pay the people that are working on this, foundation. So, and that just started yesterday. It was like this. Let me do it. I don't care. I'll go out there and grab the food myself. I'll take it to the people, and I see where my money's going. That's why I'm so pro small nonprofits, not big ones, small nonprofits like the Ronan Foundation, right back here.
Right. I'll have a link for it too in the description.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. He wants no money in that account because he wants every penny that comes in to help out a veteran that's in need. Suicide, drugs, alcoholism, and we'll take care of him. And now today I promoted one of my purple belts, Elijah Butler. All right, he was in Iwakuni with me. He got out. He went to Indiana. He was not doing so good. The Ronan Foundation took care of some stuff for him. Now he knew that I was here. He dropped everything, moved here to Swansboro. We linked up together. He started training here. Year and a half later, he got promoted to Purple Belt. He's got a baby on the way. He's got a beautiful family. And he comes here and teaches our kids classes every day. So if that's not a fruit of something that can happen when you're good. Right. Today I was talking about it as he was getting promoted, if that one person was helped, I'm happy, man. What else can I do? Help somebody that's in need. And I'm kind of selfish too because I like that feeling when I help somebody. Oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? I love it. So, but I'd rather be selfish in that way than just do something else and go out and buy a boat or do some crazy stuff. Stuff that you don't even need. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky that our companies are doing good and we're moving forward. And my wife has a year and 11 months left in active duty, and then we're retiring and going to Florida. We're going to open the headquarters gym over there. And now my students are reaching certain levels, so brown and black belts, that they're going to open their own schools, and they'll still represent our logo. So it'll be like a franchise and affiliate with CXPJJ. So our goal is probably to have between, I don't know, maybe 50 or 100 academies within the next 5 to 10 years. Right now we're moving with 6. Jesse Thornton in Las Vegas is about to open one up beginning of next year. CXPJJ in Las Vegas. So we got a lot of things coming, man. It's just it just takes time. You can't rush greatness. You just gotta take a backseat sometime and let your people work for you, your friends, your students, and rise up together, man.
That is awesome, and what an amazing story. I learned a lot about you today, like a lot. And obviously, like I said, the majority is what kind of the things I've just heard about you. And then, we've had our interactions throughout being in Japan and our brief interaction while I was here over the phone and through text and email and stuff, getting this whole meeting set up and going over stuff for promotion. But you have an amazing story to tell. You literally made it easy for me to create clips for like all these places to put out. It's seriously amazing. And there's so many different like areas that we covered, throughout the podcast today. And I just want to say thank you. And I know everybody else is very thankful. Those that came in the chat. Thank you guys all for watching and supporting the stream as well. And, just being interactive throughout with the comment section. And to all of you that are going to go out and do great things because of Enrique, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to say thank you in advance, because people like you are literally what helps to motivate the world, motivate people to do better. Like, sometimes people want to do great things. They just don't know how to do it. And you literally provided so many nuggets throughout this, like, one podcast. I personally want to say thank you. And I'm going to be hitting you up at some point, because I still got a bunch of questions, but, you know, we actually went over about 30 minutes, which I don't care. You know, people, I know people want to see it, you know what I'm saying? And I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
And what we need to do is help each other out as veterans, you know, lift each other up, and things will take care of themselves. I know we're going through some rough times right now in our nation as a whole. And all I gotta say, man, is just look at your neighbor to your left and to your right, around where you live. And that is the real essence of the United States of America. That right there. Not what you watch on TV, not the sensationalized. Remember, they're there to do a business. You know, they're there to promote. You need to watch this. At the end of the day, look to your left and to your right. Look to your neighborhoods, look to the people, your grocery store, how you politely say thank you, how you take care of one another. And that is the fabric of the United States. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. There's bad people, but guess what? There's more good than bad in the United States. I guarantee you. And if you do your part, we will be going into the right direction 100%. There is no doubt about it. Black, Hispanic, white, Asian, it doesn't really matter. It's like jiu-jitsu here. When we get on the mats, it's all about the proof is in the pudding, man. You can't talk your way out. You can't have hate. You can't do anything. You get in there, you can't fake it. You know,
you'll get this work.
Once you're tapping, you're tapping. And nobody in here, we have Muslims, Catholics, every religion. Nobody's ever talking about it. We just roll, say thank you, hug each other at the end of practice. I'll see you at the barbecue, brother. That is what America's all about. Forget about that nonsense. And stay hard, stay strong, my friends.
Absolutely. So now that you gave everybody this like incredible message and all these things to go off of, hey, people want to know where you at. You know, so how can they find you? What's that social media like?
You can hit me up on Instagram, Enrique.Watson, or hit me up on Facebook, Enrique Watson on Facebook, CXBJJ Iwakuni on Facebook, CXBJJ Swansboro, North Carolina, CSBJJ Jacksonville, North Carolina. You can hit us up at Parabellum Jiu-Jitsu in Waynesville, Missouri. Todd and Holly are the owners of that academy over there, representing us well. And I currently teach here in Swansboro, North Carolina. I have great instructors like Eric Gonzalez. We have Elijah Butler. We have Ashby as coaches. We have great kids classes. So if you want to take a class, come up here in law enforcement. If you're in law enforcement right now, you don't have to pay 1 cent. You come in and train for free. And this is here in Swansboro, North Carolina. So come in, sign a waiver, and you'll come in and train for free, guys. I want to make sure that all of our law enforcement officers know how to deal with an unarmed situation, how to not escalate or de-escalate a situation properly. So there is no excuse. I'll give you free training as long as you're a law enforcement officer or even a first responder. You come in and we'll take care of you guys.
That is absolutely awesome. So like I said, I appreciate you, and hopefully, you know, at some point between now and, you know, maybe, we might have you back on the show again at some point, you know what I'm saying? But I would definitely love to get a hold of you because like I said, I have a lot more questions and a lot of things that, I feel that if I got answered from you, I'd be able to get back to the veteran community. So I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, Enrique Watson, we definitely appreciate having you here on the show. What a great inspiration you've been through. I mean, with everybody that I know that's ever contacted or interacted with you, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this. And like I said, we got to continue to, elevate ourselves so that we're able to elevate others and, just help each other out as veterans. So I appreciate you. And thank you guys all for, conversating up in the chat and being interactive. And we'll see you guys. Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time on Facebook, I have another show. It's called Ask a Vet. These next 2 weeks are going to be lit. You're not going to want to miss it. If you have time to do it, I'll allow it to replay a little bit, but we put the full episodes on YouTube. And starting next week, we're going to start having sponsors on our show. So we are definitely moving up. Like I said, we just hit 100 downloads on our podcast, and the views for YouTube because of you guys our second show on Facebook for Ask a Vet cracked over 1,000 within 3 hours. Thank you guys for everything, and we'll see you guys on Friday night. Peace.